Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer ZARATE and you're watching CRN TV. Now President Joe Biden is calling on Congress to modernize and secure federal IT infrastructure to prevent another SolarWinds type attack as part of his relief package announced on January 14. Sam, what do you feel the money could most effectively be spent on?
Well, I think it's not a one and done. I don't think we just say, hey, go spend it on X, Y, or Z. The real key here is that there are programs in place to modernize and to think about reduction of risk. There are some older things that can be maintained that are actually quite secure. Modernization for its own sake is not the goal. The reason we want to do this is to have flexibility, to reduce that security debt, to have options in the future, to get the new features. Some things are just not securable. So I would like to see it done on the basis of risk, and modernization isn't just about security, of course, it's also about new features and new capabilities. So rather than say, just go do X, Y, and Z, I would say, let's make it a systematic way of coming up with a plan and knowing what your priorities are for that modernization.
I think the biggest priority within the first 100 days would be the skill shortage, not only in the federal government, but the partnership integration between the federal government and the channel, and ultimately the vendors and the solution providers. That being, execution is going to be key in the first 100 days of the new administration. And when you have a skills shortage in and of itself, it doesn't really matter what technology is sitting on the dock to be deployed, you're just not going to execute properly in it. And I think the second order of business should be to have a consortium established within the first 100 days of a public and private partnership to come together to help govern that process.
So what opportunity does this create for partners within the U.S. government space?
Trusted advisors, right? Whether it's in the U.S. government or not, but in particular in the U.S. government because of, well, critical infrastructure, and also the government itself has got so many networks and is clearly in the crosshairs for a lot of attackers. The chance to come in and say, let's bring in new techniques, let's modernize or remove waste from processes, let's look at better organizational structures, let's look at better deep security practices and controls. This is a real opportunity. As Mike said earlier, there are things to be brought from the private sector to help the government, just as the reverse is true too.
It really calls upon a collective unit to come together from the channel to say, look, we have a huge problem that we're addressing here, not only for the federal government, but a global problem. It's a global problem across multiple verticals, all 16 verticals in the critical infrastructure, from banking to healthcare. And so I think it's going to call upon the private sector as well as an opportunity to come together to collaborate and to communicate more transparently regarding you not just have partnerships to sell each other solutions or to go to market together, but you have a responsibility now to share and to shape how you go to market together and how you implement these solutions in an integrated fashion for the federal government.
Lastly, what do you think the first 100 days of the Biden administration will look like in terms of addressing the nation's cybersecurity defense?
Well, I think I'm eagerly awaiting to know more about it. I have ideas, and I'm thrilled that the Biden administration and Joe Biden has said that cybersecurity matters. They said this right around the time of the SolarWinds announcement and attack. There are a lot of themes and a lot of things I think on the president's plate, but I for one can't wait to see what a more robust nation is going to be like and having programs in place. So that first 100 days, I'm eagerly waiting myself, but we know that money has been earmarked originally, and the spirit is there, and he has the right advisors. So let's see what happens.